Start with you just because one of the things that's been happening since last night when Donald Trump made his comment about not necessarily accepting the results of the election is that people in his camp and people out there in the country have been saying, what's so bad about that? Al Gore contested the election in 2000. Given that your closeness to Vice President Gore and the fact that you were part of that story, explain to us whether they have a point or not.
They have a point, but it's the wrong point. This has been pretty well litigated today, but look, 2000 was a disputed election. As you both know, Florida was under recount by law. I think nobody would doubt that it was good to go through every legal process they could to determine that the will of the voter was actually honored by the process. But again, when the highest court in the land weighed in and stopped the recount, Al Gore, and there were plenty of people encouraging Vice President Gore to pursue it further, he not only graciously conceded the election, but he told everybody, look, don't trash the court. And there's a fine line here between anarchy, essentially, and a disputed Supreme Court decision. And it was a good moment. And what concerned me about last night were people that were going out and using that example when, in fact, what Mr. Trump did last night was the very opposite of that kind of graciousness.
Kim, remind everybody briefly where you stand on your party's nominee. You voting for him?
I'll keep you in suspense.
Okay, very funny. So Kim,
I'll tell you at the time.
Let's say that this program ends and your phone rings and it's Steve Bannon and Kelly and Conway on speaker, and they say, Mr. Trump's decided that debate answer and the way he tried to address it today is not good. He wants something new to try to put this behind us. What would you tell him to do?
Stop trying to be so clever. I think he gets himself in trouble where he has the meat of what people who are supporting him and people who are disgruntled with Washington and the system want to hear, and then he takes it too far. I think that happened to him a couple of times in the debate last night. He's got good gut instincts about what's going on in the hearts and minds of people who are tired of politics as usual, but then he tries to be too clever and put on a show instead of just laying that out there, and I think that's just because that's who he is.
Kim, when you were watching that debate last night, one of the things we discussed earlier in the show was that moment when Hillary Clinton made a comment about him not paying taxes, and then he sort of, not really under his breath, but he sort of snapped at her and said, he called her a nasty woman. I've heard from women all day today who read into that not just a snappiness, but a kind of misogyny that upset them. Do you, as both as a woman and a Republican woman, when you heard that, did you groan? What was your reaction to that comment by Mr. Trump?